You don't even realise you're doing it sometimes. But you shrink yourself to make other people comfortable. You become quieter, less expressive, less confident, less you. After a while, you start disconnecting from yourself completely. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, guys. We're going to be talking about not dimming your light, okay? Don't dim yourself to make yourself more digestible for others, okay? So, what I mean by dimming your light, it's not about ego or attention, okay? It's about suppressing yourself or filtering yourself, reducing your personality and hiding your confidence and making yourself smaller for acceptance. So then you start becoming the version of you that feels more accepted instead of the version of you that feels most authentic. So why do we do it? Why do we dim ourselves? Why do we dim our light when we can shine so bright? But there's real reasons why we do this, yeah? So fear of judgment, fear of rejection, feeling like we want to belong, or not wanting to intimidate people. Have you ever been called too much in your past or in your life? Has somebody ever said to you, oh, you're too much? Oh, they're too much for me? Yeah, I have. So, when we consider all of the factors that are involved with us dimming our lights and not dimming ourselves and why we do it, maybe somewhere along the way you learn that fully being yourself didn't feel emotionally safe. So you started shrinking parts of yourself without even realizing it. And how could this show up in your everyday life? What could that look like? Do you overthink everything you say? Maybe you hold back your personality. Apologizing for yourself consistently or downplaying your achievements. It could also show up by, you know, silencing your opinions, not using your voice, and, making yourself less visible. But the thing is, right, the more you suppress yourself for acceptance, the more disconnected you become from who you really are. And there's a cost to this. There's a hidden cost to dimming your light and suppressing yourself and making yourself smaller so you are more digestible for other people. And the truth of the matter is, you start resenting yourself, or you could start resenting yourself, or resenting others, resenting other people when you're around them because you can't be your authentic self. You feel like you can't show up as your authentic self. So resentment can build. It can lead to low self-worth. Yeah, not loving yourself, not honouring yourself, not believing in yourself, not trusting yourself. And that's detrimental. And a lot of the time, it leads to identity loss. Who am I? I don't even know who I am anymore. I don't even feel like myself. Who am I? What's going on? Confusion. And that can lead to exhaustion, right? Like constantly being exhausted for playing a character that is not authentically you, putting on a mask that isn't fully you, yeah? Putting on a mask that hides part of yourself, that shrinks part of yourself. And it can also lead to emotional disconnection. Disconnecting because you don't feel like it is safe enough to connect and fully feel, or you don't like the feelings that it brings up when you are shrinking yourself. And the thing is, right, when you start constantly minimizing yourself for other people, eventually you start believing that you should be smaller. And when we talk about confidence, yeah, it's not about arrogance or attention seeking or superiority, yeah? Confidence is all about loving yourself fully, wholly for the version of yourself that you are. It's about self-acceptance. It's about self-expression. And like I'm saying, the comfort with who you are, standing in yourself, within yourself, fully, understanding that you are flawed, we all are, understanding that, we all have weaknesses, but loving yourself, every bit of yourself, the good, the bad, and the ugly. There's always room for improvement. We're ever evolving beings. We're going to change, we're going to evolve if we allow ourselves to. So confidence isn't believing or thinking that you're better than everybody else. Yeah? It's no longer believing that you need to be less than who you are. So, I got some tools. Yeah? I got some tools in the toolkit that I'm going to share with you. Because, you are important and I will keep reminding you of that, okay? So, the first tool is noticing where you shrink yourself. You want to ask yourself, where do you silence yourself? Who do you become smaller around? And where do you abandon yourself for approval? And the thing is, right, when you're around people or you're in environments or you're sitting at tables, your body, your nervous system, your soul will respond to that environment or those people. And it's really important to be able to observe how do you feel when you're around people? Do you feel confident? Do you feel like your best self, your most authentic self? Are you vibrating higher? Are you around people that you feel are like-minded? Or do you feel small? Do you just shut up? Do you not say certain things? Do you feel less confident? Do you feel a bit anxious? What are the feelings that are going on inside? Because they're indicators of where you should be going and who you should be around, and are you in the right spaces, places, around the right people. The second tool, right? Now this is really a good tool. And I learnt this tool in therapy, okay? Mary, thank you. But I learnt this tool in therapy, and I always used to apologise, right? I always used to say sorry. And she taught me to stop apologising for existing. Okay? So examples of this could be, over-explaining yourself. Yeah? Or apologising unnecessarily, which would be me. I'd be like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And she'd be like, why are you apologising? And I didn't actually know, I just felt like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Why? Had I done something wrong? No. Did I have something to be apologising for? No. Why am I apologising for my existence? And also minimising your needs and opinions. So what you need matters, yeah? And also, your opinion is valid. Yeah? You're allowed to see things the way that you see things. And when you get out of the habit of consistently apologising for nothing, for your existence, you allow yourself to start shining. You allow yourself to honour the light that you have within you. So the third tool leads on. And what you want to do is start practicing how to express yourself honestly. What I mean by that, what I mean by practice expressing yourself honestly, is start speaking more openly. It will be uncomfortable at first, right? But honestly, you'll feel good and you'll feel better about yourself for being honest, because that means that you're being honest with yourself also. Share your thoughts. Not every thought needs to be shared, but what's wrong with sharing your thoughts? If you have a thought on something or you have an opinion on something, why can't you share it? And also, right, this for me, it was like the biggest one, okay? So stop filtering yourself. So stop filtering your personality consistently. Practice it. Practice not dimming yourself. Practice not filtering yourself around people. The thing is, right, small acts build confidence. Yeah? So when you're confident within yourself of who you are and how you show up in the world, then You can walk into any room and still be that authentic person that you are. You can still be your authentic, beautiful soul that you are, without feeling like you have to shrink yourself or you have to dim yourself. And guess what? Guess what then you'll attract? Is your tribe. You will attract your tribe. You will attract people who are like-minded, who are also beautiful souls, who also honor your light. And they don't want to shrink it, or they don't want you to shrink it. They honor you wholly and fully. So then the fourth tool, right, is pay attention to your environment. Okay? Now, guys, you know me, I talk about this all the time, yeah? I talk about how important your environment is all of the time, but pay attention to it, because healthy people don't require you to be smaller to feel accepted. Okay? Like I'm just saying, you will attract your tribe, yeah? And you will also feel the difference within how you feel around the right people, which is why it's so important to pay attention and to create the awareness. So, it's time for you to reclaim yourself, yeah? Dive in to self-acceptance. Start accepting who you are wholly and fully, and love who you are. Show up as who you are, the authentic you, because I'm telling you, so many people are going to love you, right? We are not for everybody. Everybody isn't for everybody, yeah? Some people won't like you or won't like it, and that's okay, because there's so many other people that will, you know? Because when you're able to walk in your authenticity, it is so powerful and so fruitful. And what you do is allow others to also walk in their authenticity. Why should you be small? Why shouldn't you take up space? Me, I'm a bright light. I shine bright. Yeah? Sorry, it might be a bit blinding, okay? But guess what? So does everybody around me. When you allow yourself to take up space, the right people will honor that. The right people will be attracted to that. Never dim yourself, honestly. Because the thing is, right, with being able to take up space and being able to shine within your authenticity, you were never designed to spend your life filtering yourself just to be tolerated. Okay, that was not God's plan. Okay, that is not, it's not the plan. Okay, we're not supposed to be doing that. All right. But honestly, amigos, like, I speak about this because I have been so compelled to talk about it. It's been on my heart, and I've planned for it, and I was like, if it's still on my heart to speak about, I'm going to. And the reason why it's so important is because I know how hard it is. Yeah, you might look at me and think, oh, you know, she's really confident, you know what I mean? But trust me, that's took work to build. I haven't always been this way, and I haven't always allowed myself to shine so bright. There's been seasons in my life where I stayed small. I stayed digestible for others. I stayed small. Whereas that is a thing of the past now. That is no more, because I've done the work to be able to fully love myself wholly, the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm flawed. We all are. Yeah? But I love my flaws. I'm aware of my flaws. You know, I am who I am. And I will not apologize for who I am. I will not shrink myself anymore to make myself more digestible for others. If I'm shining too bright and that irritates people's demons, okay. I'm not going to stop shining bright. You're just not my tribe, not my people. And that's okay. As long as you walk in your authenticity and you allow yourself to shine, guess who you're going to attract? The like-minded people. You're going to attract more bright souls. You're going to attract the things and the people and the environments where you should be. Because the thing is, when you shrink yourself and when you start noticing, okay, I shrunk myself there. That didn't feel too great, or I don't know, I just didn't feel like I could fully be myself around these people or in that environment. And you start paying attention to it, you can start following your compass. and knowing where you need to go. It's internal work, yeah? But loving yourself wholly, fully, standing in yourself, within yourself, knowing who you are. It's important, man. It's important. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like I'm saying, this has been really, really important. And you know what? What's in my mind as I'm saying this and as I'm speaking to you is, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Hey, this little light of mine, what, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Whoa, cool, shut up. But right, and it's really interesting actually, as that is on repeat in my head, and the whole song is on repeat in my head. And you know what I can see? I can see little me in school, in assembly, singing that song. Crazy. But yeah, amigos, it's that time. It's time to plant the seed. Yeah, give you some food for thought. Do you know what I'm saying? Give you something to marinate on. I just want you to think about it, and I just want you to remember, yeah, you do not need to dim your light just because somebody else is uncomfortable with it. The right people will never require you to become smaller to be accepted. So stop abandoning parts of yourself just to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. Let that sink in. Let that marinate. I don't know who needed to hear this today, but amigos, like I said, I was compelled to speak about this today. So it was on my heart. So I know that it's been placed there for a reason. Yeah, so that is it for me today, amigos. But I really, really urge you to challenge yourself this week, man. And just observe yourself and see when you're around people or when you're in certain environments, how do you feel? Do you feel your most authentic self? Do you feel like you can be you wholeheartedly, fully, brightly, and accepted? Or do you feel like you have to shrink yourself to be more digestible, to be more accepted by others? But amigos, that is it from me today. Thank you so, so, so much if you have watched this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because you know, we're on a mission. But amigos, honestly, have an amazing week, yeah? And I urge you, yeah, I challenge you to shine the brightest that you can this week. Shine in your authenticity and see how it feels. But amigos, as you already know, good vibes are on the way from me to you. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.